In researching Susan's untimely death and short life with those knew her, it soon becomes obvious that she was an unlikely victim of homicide. She was considered a popular young lady from a highly regarded family. No vices or anything unexpected in her background could be identified. Add to this the fact that Susan's murder was the first homicide in Weldon in decades leaves you trying to make sense of what occurred and why. Susan was adopted. Her parents Herman and Maurice were unable to conceive. Maurice had tragically lost twins earlier during a complicated pregnancy, leaving her unable to become pregnant. Susan also had an adopted brother Michael who was 3 years older. Herman was a prominent businessman in the region working as a manager for bi-county gas producers. He also was at one time a Weldon City Commissioner, vice chairman of the Weldon School Board, and a deacon at Weldon Baptist Church. Maurice was a busy working mother for the most part and lived for her children. During the spring of 1982 she married her sweetheart, local man Tim Clary, in a ceremony at Weldon Baptist Church, who she had been dating for the past 2 years. Susan was employed as an assistant clerk at the town of Weldon's tax collection office. By November 1982, Susan, aged 20, was pregnant with her first child. She confirmed excitedly to family and friends that the young couple had already named their unborn child, a boy, Chad Ray. The morning of Monday, May 16, 1983 has caused speculation for decades. Susan was due at work at the town hall by 8:30 a.m. Her husband Tim was believed to have left the house earlier in the morning to visit his father. He stated to investigators he went to his father's property in Roanoke Rapids to assist in building a garage at the home. Tim has confirmed to police many times over the years that when he departed home just before 7 a.m. Susan was still in bed asleep. She was due at work at 8:30 a.m. Out of the ordinary routine for a weekday, Susan was to meet her mother mid-morning to sit down with a local realtor. This appointment was to take place at Morris's work office where she was employed by an insurance broker. Unexpectedly, Susan did not arrive at the appointment. Maurice immediately phoned Susan's work to see if she forgot about their meetup. A town hall worker informed Maurice that her daughter had not come into the office that morning. Concerned, Maurice called her husband Herman and asked if he could go check on their daughter at her Washington Avenue home. When Herman arrived at the Clary residence at approximately 9:30 a.m., he immediately noticed the rear door of the house was open. Upon entry into the main bedroom at the front of the property, he encountered a nightmarish scene. Herman found his daughter unresponsive, lying face up on the bed. She was naked, heavily pregnant, with a bra wrapped around her neck. The medical examiner's report would later state she most likely died due to asphyxiation secondary to strangulation. It was unlikely that the bra was utilized to manually strangle Susan. She had not been sexually assaulted, although she did have a bruise to her temple indicating some type of recent physical assault. Frantic, Herman placed Susan on the floor and commenced CPR. With Susan remaining unconscious and not breathing, he quickly phoned emergency services and alerted them to the tragic circumstances. When EMTs and police had arrived at the home, they were confused by the layout of the crime scene. Firstly, there was no obvious forced entry into the residence by an attacker. No evidence that the house was ransacked in any way. On inspection by investigators, no items appeared to be stolen from the residence. There was physical evidence that indicated Susan likely struggled with her killer in another room of the house before being forced into the main bedroom. Interestingly, the double bed had been repositioned in the bedroom and a large footstool had been moved out of place. Perhaps the most bizarre aspect of the crime scene was that there were 2 firearms, believed to be handguns, placed on top of different dressers in the bedroom. Neither gun had been fired and they looked to be wiped clean of any fingerprints. Both guns were owned by Tim Clary and were usually hidden within the household for safety reasons. Investigators noted the young couple owned a large dog, a Doberman, which from all reports was aggressive and loud. Neighbors would tell police that they had not heard the dog bark that morning. A Reese's peanut butter cup wrapper lay next to the bathtub, indicating that Susan had probably consumed some chocolate. It is believed only one of the chocolates had been eaten. The bathtub appeared like it had just been used, with remnants of water in the tub. Susan's mother Maurice later confirmed a morning bath and some Reese's chocolate were part of her daughter's morning routine, which usually began at around 7:30 a.m. To date, no one has ever been charged with the murder of Susan. The investigation continues to sit with the Halifax County Sheriff's Office headed by Sheriff Wes Tripp. In an interesting side note, Tripp worked part-time with Susan at Taylor's Fish House in Roanoke Rapids whilst they were both in high school. If the sheriff's office does have definitive material evidence from the crime scene pointing to a specific suspect, then they are keeping this information tightly under wraps. One investigative theory has stuck to the case file, however, that the crime scene was staged to make what transpired at the Clary house look like a break-in gone wrong or home invasion scenario. While delving into the nature of homicide scene staging in crime scene staging dynamics in homicide cases, Dr. Laura Petler found that most staged homicide scenes involve the killing of an intimate partner. Her research indicates that most crime scenes that are staged occur within the home environment. Further, she confirms that in most of these cases the cause of death was either strangulation or blunt force trauma.